Check out World of Tanks at gboffer.com/tanks and use code GBTV to receive a bunch of free goodies and support the show. What's up guys, and welcome to Waypoint, your weekly League of Legends recap for June 25th, 2014. I'm your host, Lindsay Geektron. Patch 4.10 hit live servers this week, and after a few smaller updates, this one really looks like it's gonna rock the boat. First of all, everyone's favorite cat girl, Nidalee, has been reworked. I don't want to go too in-depth on the changes as we've covered them extensively on a previous episode, but I will give you the short version. Before the patch, Nidalee's gameplay almost entirely revolved around throwing spears and chunking her opponents down from range. That's changed somewhat. Riot wanted Nidalee to have much more interactive gameplay and counterplay, so in 4.10 they really emphasized the strength of her cougar form. Nidalee will still want to toss spears and poke, but now when one lands, there'll be significant bonuses into switching to cougar form and jumping into melee. Whether or not this means she's going to be more of a top lane bruiser or remain as a squishy AP mid remains to be seen. It'll be interesting to see if she continues to make a big presence in LCS. Skarner is the other champion to receive a rework in 4.10. Unlike Nidalee, Riot weren't looking to give Skarner a new role. Rather, they wanted to bring back his old strength as a sticky, crowd-controlling monster that he'd lost after several nerfs. The new Skarner's passive really emphasizes that, with his passive letting his auto-attack stun after 3 abilities hit a target. His ultimate has a reduced cooldown, but more interestingly, now deals significant bonus damage if the target's been hit by Skarner's other abilities. Skarner pretty much has reduced cooldown across the board, but the damage numbers to his Q and E have been nerfed to compensate. His Q gives him a stacking move speed bonus, which combined with his stunning passive will really make him a pain to get away from. The ultimate bonus damage combined with everything else definitely points towards Riot wanting him to be more of a brawler, less reliant on flash ultimate initiations. Also, the word on the street is that his damage really isn't too bad at all despite the on-paper nerfs. That's important if he wants to make an appearance in competitive play where you have to be able to scrap the other jungler really early on. LeBlanc has finally been hit with a significant nerf that may end her reign as the queen of the mid lane. The silence on her Q has been completely removed. What this means is that anytime she jumps in for a trade, her opponent can hit her back. If her opponent has crowd control, she just auto loses, especially if the jungler shows up. Even if her opponent can't respond offensively to her lack of silence, they can now flash away and survive where they couldn't before. In late game standoff, she's far more likely to be blown up when she goes in for poke, which in LeBlanc's case means teleporting in and out. Many people have said this, it's about time. On the AD carry front, like we talked about last week, minor nerfs to Lucian and Twitch, and minor buffs to Tristana and Sivir. The biggest change is probably that Twitch's stealth can now be delayed to 6 seconds while he's taking damage, making him much easier to assassinate. Ultimately, the real changes to marksman in this patch are coming through the items. The new item, Essence Reaver, offers fairly low attack damage, lifesteal, and cooldown reduction, but looks to make up for it by restoring mana on basic attacks. It costs 2,650 gold, and honestly, in our opinion, it kinda sucks for everyone except for maybe Ezreal, and even then, the stats are poor. We just don't see when you'd have time to build it between all of the other items a marksman needs in this patch more than ever. Moving on, Doran's Blade has got its lifesteal back at 3%, with everything else about it being slightly nerfed. Absolutely a big buff to Doran's Blade, and with that much lifesteal, 2 of them are very tempting. The big picture downside is that with that much sustain early game, how are healers like Sona, Soraka, and Janna gonna make a comeback? We don't see it happening without further changes. Bloodthirster has been significantly nerfed as it no longer stacks bonus damage and lifesteal. To make up for this, its base stats have been buffed slightly, and overhealing provides a shield. The issue is who cares about shields when you're at max health? Combined with a 300 gold cost increase, it's a much weaker item. This hurts AD casters like Graves and Lucian most of all, the latter of which will have a less dominant early game now, which can only be a good thing. Infinity Edge has remained the same other than a 10 damage attack buff, which definitely puts it as a top contender for AD carries to rush first. The alternative is Blade of the Ruined King, which also saw no changes. Which item you will rush likely depends on which champion you're playing and how long you can wait for your power spike. Going Bork will make you significantly stronger until the Infinity Edge player can grab attack speed items. Other than that, Athene saw a large magic resist nerf, which will leave mid laners crying and looking for alternative options. Abyssal is a possibility, but cooldown reduction can be very hard to itemize for on mages. Teleport got a 40-second cooldown increase, which doesn't really change anything, it's still strong when it's strong. The speed boost duration on heal has been halved, and we still don't know why it has speed in the first place. That's a lot of patch notes. Riot are already looking forward to patch 4.11, and we already know one very controversial change is in the works. Bear in mind that, like everything on the PvE, this may never hit live servers. If things go according to plan though, in 4.11, jungle timers will be added to the game. So what does this mean? It means a new UI element added to the game that will count down the respawn time of jungle camps. What this doesn't do is give us any more information that we could already get on live servers, which is really important to note. So for example, if the enemy team kills Baron in Fog of War, you don't get a jungle timer because you didn't see what time it died. So basically, this is Riot presenting information to the player that they already have but maybe not have been taking advantage of. Most players in solo queue don't keep more than a rough estimate of time of junglers, if that. So for the average player, we think this will be a really positive change that will enable them to make smarter decisions. On the other hand, in competitive play, timing respawns is incredibly important, and every pro team around the world does it. You kill Dragon or you steal blue and you write the respawn timer in chat on your way out for your team to keep track of. If you mess up your timer or you forget to time it, it can have a really big impact on the game. So if you arrive at Baron a minute early by mistake, the other team gets a tower and you blame your jungler. We might be wrong, but most pros would prefer this wasn't automated, while a big chunk of regular players wouldn't mind it. Maybe this is crazy, but what if it just wasn't added to the tournament realm that the pro players play on? Seems like a pretty good solution for everyone. What do you guys think? Let us know in the comments down below. On the far less controversial front of 4.11, Riot want to buff the support tanky junglers that have disappeared completely. Season 4 has been dominated by the likes of Lee Sin, Kha'Zix, Elise, and Evelynn. Junglers that focus on early game aggression and damage, perhaps picking up 1 or 2 defensive items by the end of the game. Champions like Alistar, Amumu, Maokai, and Nautilus, who crushed in earlier seasons, have completely faded away. Partly because the damage-focused junglers can just walk all over them by the early game. To bring the old flavor of jungler up to par, Riot are mainly looking to give them better itemization, allowing them to perform well early, while the champions that still perform badly after those changes will receive more direct buffs. Outside of the jungle, Kayle, Jax, Ziggs, and Yasuo are all on Riot's watchlist for potential nerfs, for reasons I think we can all understand at this point. If Jax can just be removed from the game, that would be great. You know what's hard to do while playing League of Legends? Reading a book. No, seriously, I tried, and I fed like crazy, which is different than never. That's why I use Audible.com. Whether it's in the car, playing League of Legends, or chilling in bed, Audible is the best way to get your audiobook fix. With great prices, tons of special promotions, and sales for members, Audible offer everything from The Hunger Games to Game of Thrones to Star Wars. There's honestly just about something for everyone on Audible.com. And the best part? Audible have a great listen guarantee, so if you don't like your choice, simply return it and try again. If you're interested, head on over to audible.com/gamebreaker and start your free 30-day trial today. And just for signing up, you'll receive a free audiobook that's yours to keep. That's so nice of them. It's also just a great way to support us and help us to continue to make shows like this possible. That URL again is audible.com/gamebreaker. And that does it for this week's episode of Waypoint. Be sure to check back every week for the latest League of Legends news. If you enjoyed this video, please like and comment below to help us reach more people. And if you want more League of Legends content, recaps, and updates, please be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel, LolNationTV. I'm Lindsay Geektron. You can follow me on Twitter at LindsayGeektron. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys at the next Waypoint.
Game Breaker TV.